What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of The Block is Hot. Today, we're doing a very exciting interview with an upcoming CNFT project, Ada Invadaz. Today, we're going to be talking to the CEO and founder, which is Invada Jim, and he's just going to be covering this project. This is a project that has been on my radar for a while personally now, just because the art looks absolutely fantastic. And my little cousin, who I got into CNFTs, literally fell in love with this project. So when he reached out to me on Twitter, I knew we had to get this going and just learn more about this project to show to you guys. But yeah, let's get started here. Can you go a little bit into depth of who you are and why you got this project started?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And thank you for having us so much on the channel. So my name's Invada Jim. I'm one of the co-founders of Ada Invadaz. Ada Invadaz is a CNFT project from outer space. That's how we term it. And it's a CNFT brand that we're looking to bring into the space. Really, that's the overview and the vision. And there are a few things which spark off the brand, but central to it is the Invadaz brand and vision, which I can go into as we talk. The reason for bringing this project to the space is that we have been involved with CNFT and crypto for a long time before that. We've always been big on ADA for a while. We were immediately captured by what NFTs and what CNFTs were. As soon as it was actually the project co-founder showed me some CNFTs kind of back in kind of late summer last year, and instantly just got it as, okay, these are things which kind of show off your identity, who you are. You get different kind of profile pictures. And I think the utility that has been brought to the space since then has been amazing. But, we were always captured just by good art, I suppose. We have professional backgrounds in related fields, let's say. So the project team is there's three of us. There's myself. My background is in copywriting, kind of narrative building, speech writing. I've done just a lot of different things that involve kind of writing and world building and stuff like that. The project co-founder Veda, he co-owns a branding agency here in the UK, and then we're working with 3D artist who we work with professionally as well. And so as we were digging into the space and as we saw projects that we really liked and we were getting into, we thought, this is an opportunity for us to work on a really creative, cool project together, which is way above and beyond what we do in our day jobs in terms of fun, excitement, and also something which we think we could bring to the community that people would really like. We are, all of us, huge alien, sci-fi, UFO nerds, and so it was always going to be something to do with that. And we were also nerds for kind of like world building, culture building. And as we get more into the story of the Invadaz, there's a huge deal of it which is to do with anthropology, right? And creating a culture and a backstory and a narrative for this race of aliens and the other races of aliens that will be involved in the thing. We were very inspired by projects on CNFT, but also looking at stuff on ETH, I think, was where a lot of the spark came from. In particular, projects like Hapes, Mechaverse, and more recently Tron as well. I think we looked at those and we thought we could aspire to do something like that in terms of style, in terms of the level of detail, in terms of the 3D art. So we had that on the one hand, but also the fact that we loved Cardano, we loved Ada, and we're also very inspired by some of the early 3D projects in Cardano, like Ugly Bros was one we love and still do love in terms of the 3D art there. And also some of the other, innovative early CNFT projects like Playmates and Dead Pixels were things that we just immediately spent our whole lives, thinking about and talking about. And so we have actually been working on Ada Invadaz for probably, like 6 or 7 months, really. Maybe the Discord has been live for 3 months, but and to be honest with you, the majority of the time that has been spent on the project has been thinking about the narrative, the story, and I suppose the brand as well. And I think it's really exciting to do stuff like this today because, okay, I think I had a conversation with somebody the other day about long-term vision and the roadmap. And they were like, okay, when you look at this on the surface, it looks like, okay, there's some nice art, this is some cool like generative aliens, but there's a lot of depth to it, and there is a lot more that is to come in terms of the future utility, I suppose, that probably we haven't released a huge amount of information on, but I'm very happy to talk about, kind of walk through. So I guess that's a bit of background to us and the inspiration, and yeah, very happy to walk through any parts of that.
Yeah, you know what I really love that you brought up here is building a narrative. And I've brought this up on my channel a decent amount of times, and I don't think enough projects really think about this, but narratives are so strong. And if you can make a narrative, a story, an ideal, a brand, an idea that other people will believe in, then that is one of the biggest indicators for me of whether or not that project is going to be successful. And a lot of projects will come out and then they'll try to build a narrative later. So the fact that you have a background in building narratives and have planned this out and have been doing this for so long, and this is information I didn't know, guys. You know, I'm learning as I'm going here. That is very insane to me. And just to bring up an example of this, like I recently bought an ape from Ape Society. Why did I do that? I've been on the sidelines for a while, but why did I finally do that? Well, I think there's a narrative that's forming there. What's the narrative? Well, Bored Ape on Ethereum is going crazy. So what's going to be the Bored Ape of Cardano? And what you guys are doing is you're building a narrative of this really cool story. These aliens that invade, maybe there's different aliens in the future. You're already planning ahead on that. And you guys have not only made an incredible level of art when it comes into 3D art, which we haven't really seen much in Cardano, but you guys are also, and from what I'm seeing, what you're wearing, have already started to create some of the merch and some of the branding behind this as well. So when you can pair those two together, I really think that you guys have a chance of building like a successful long-term project and community from it. But yeah, so I've been talking about the art a couple of times in here. Do you mind going on the website and just showing these guys what this actually looks like?
Yeah, of course. And maybe whilst I'm doing that, I can also talk a little bit to what the story is. So here we go. This is the website. We have here. This is one of the first pieces that we put together. He is in the collection. This guy. The race
Sick.
of aliens. They're called the Zaguris, right? And the story is, well, the Genesis story, right? So the basis of the story is that we're set about 150 years in the future. And in that future on Earth, the humans have started to use the blockchain technology, and in particular, Cardano has delivered all of its promises, right? Things like you have, in our narrative, you have something called the Great Stake Pool, which has allowed for humans to kind of come together and fund, medical progress, solve world hunger, all of these brilliant things that people involved in this community believe is the future application utility for Cardano blockchain, right? However, and this is, I guess, kind of a bit tongue-in-cheek, is that the network has been hit by a huge amount of FUD from let's say the old way of doing things, the fiat clique who have been hoarding insane amounts of wealth for generations and centuries. And in between that time, as a result of the progress that we've managed to make through using Cardano, we've made contact with alien species. And in particular, we have made contact with species of the Lupus Major planetary cluster, and the planet Zaguro is one of those planets in the cluster. And they like using the Cardano blockchain as well, right? So before that, they were trading on old systems that they had. So they were like, we like what the humans have to offer. You have interplanetary, low transaction, no gas fee, CNFT sales, right? So then the Zaguris hear that the Cardano blockchain has been compromised, right, by
oh no.
right? So they're like, oh, okay, we're going to have to go back to our old ways of trading. We're going to have to pay exorbitant gas fees for our NFT sales. And so the invasion and the invaders they're the good guys. They are coming to Earth. The warriors from planet Zaguro are coming to Earth to fight the FUD and to support the Cardano blockchain and to reinstate it so that humankind can go back to peace and prosperity as they've had before. So there's multiple planets in the world, in the universe we've created. The first of the planets is the planet Zaguro, which is where these guys come from. And I mentioned before about anthropology. So the aliens, the species from planet Zaguro, they live in this sort of kind of forest planet. They have these kind of reptile-like features. So if you zoom in, let me go down to some of the other previews that you can see here. If you zoom in on their skin, they've got these kind of like really scaly reptilian-like skin, and they've got these kind of exposed brains, and the exposed brains, there's a kind of story behind them. So for example, if you see this guy here with the neon brain, according to the invaders kind of story and lore, you've got as part of the kind of birthing ritual, they get the skin from their head removed, so then they have the exposed brain in the glass case. And then so some of the rarer or the more senior figures in this culture get a certain brain color. So like the neon pink brain is like that's like a senior figure. So this is this logo here, that's their planetary logo, the insignia that they wear on their chest. And then that can be different colors according to rank. This guy here has got a diamond encrusted insignia. And then others can have the Cardano logo, and the Cardano logo is rare. And then this guy here, the all gold pilot with his UFO kind of in the background. And I can show you this in more detail in a bit, but basically if you zoom in, his insignia, and this is all of our legendaries have this, his insignia is the A for Ada, and then it's got the names of the different eras of the Cardano roadmaps, like Shelley, Guggen, or like around.
Holy crap, dude.
Yeah, it's cool, right? And that's only the legendaries, right? So they're special, and they're like all gold. If I go back to this one, so we have obviously lighting is very important when it comes to sort of certain types of 3D art, and one section of the legendaries, I suppose, is these guys with the red and blue light split. So like they're in a spaceship, right? They're kind of, it's more active. Wow. They're NFTs, but they're kind of in the ship ready to come to Earth. And so we'll have legendary. So for example, in the set, this guy is our only legendary because it's all gold. So you will have this exact figure as well with the red blue light split. So there'll be 30 or so of them. All of these other ones are generative invaders. So obviously you can see there's different features, different outfits, different face masks. You got the god eyes, you got the gold like light sword kind of thing, you got the wings, visor, so and we've shown, I think we've shown like quite a few different kind of generations in terms of how they could fit together. This guy is more like a mystic, so he's got this is like a crown with the the obligatory red laser coming out of it with his staff. So I think we love, I love degen stuff, let's say. I love aliens with joints in their mouth and wearing like a McDonald's cap and stuff. I personally love that style. But for us and what we wanted to do, we wanted to, I guess, try a bit of a different route in terms of trying to create like, I guess we were playing at being producers on Star Wars or something, and be like, okay, cool, so kind of what kind of stuff would these aliens have, and what kind of to try and build some from scratch, to build some new attributes and some new stuff that we could put on them, like the wings and stuff. Here you see like in the face mask, this is like totally from scratch, like it's not.
Dude, this is insane. Like just hearing, okay, a couple things. One, you have the perfect voice to tell this story, bro. Like you literally like, I'm like so intrigued, like what you have to say. Another thing is like, holy crap, you guys have really thought this through. Like every single detail, the lighting, the design of it, and it shows in the artwork. Like this is really, so I come from Ethereum NFTs, and because there's just so much money on Ethereum, you really have some big projects doing some pretty crazy stuff. You guys are doing that on Cardano where there hasn't been as much exposure. And I think that's an amazing move because I think Cardano NFTs are going to gain a ton of exposure. But this art is really just on out of this world. This is outer space art, in my opinion. And it just so happens that my green screen today is outer space. So it fits the theme of this. But yes, this is super cool, man. Like the details, the legendaries, the different things that you were saying, like they're planetary tags in a sense. And what's cool is you were saying, I was looking at your website, and maybe we can talk about this a little bit more throughout this interview, but you were even saying that you know, there could be different alien species in the future in these different seasons. And would they have like different planetary tags on them as well?
Yeah, they'd be completely different models. So like these guys
completely different models.
Got, you know, like this. So this is what I'm wearing on this hoodie is like the face, the outline of the face, different, totally different attributes, different culture, right? In terms of, and also an advancement of the narrative. So as it stands at the moment, you know, this is probably the third time I've mentioned Star Wars, but why not? Why not?
Why not keep it going?
So, you know, you have different, you have evolutions of the story, and you have, you know, different, you know, prologues, different, you know, different kind of side stories to it. And I think that's why for us, the centrality of the brand is very important, because the brand is, I suppose, it's outer space, but it doesn't always have to be these aliens, right? And it doesn't always have to be that we're making the good guys. You know, there's lots of different directions you could take with it, I guess. And these are, you know, these are the first aliens that they're coming to Earth to fight FUD and other alien species, you know, who may have the same ambitions, will have their own story and their own, you know, it won't be the same, you know, exposed brain type thing. So definitely there are potential, and we can probably get into this when we talk about the roadmap, but like we haven't said we'll do 5 seasons of different alien races, because, well, as we'll get into it, you'll see kind of what the vision for the roadmap is in terms of how the governance is very important to me, and how the governance of the roadmap, it doesn't go too far. Like we've set out what we can deliver to a point. The vision is much bigger than that, but it also depends on you know, largely on the community governance. So I don't want to go ahead and say, you know, we're going to do 10 seasons.
You don't want to overpromise. And I like that too. Like you guys are taking things. And speaking of the roadmap, maybe we start covering that roadmap now and just have your general plans of where you're taking this, because I know it's a very ambitious project, and I love what you guys are doing. And I was looking at the roadmap a little bit too, and I like what you said there, because I feel like a lot of projects coming out, they'll say that they're going to do a bunch of stuff, but they don't necessarily know the level of resources it takes to achieve some of those things. So what's cool is, based on your guys' background and your team and your knowledge so far, it seems like you guys are going to be delivering on the things you're saying you're going to do, and not just saying a bunch of crap.
So I think we feel pretty confident about that. And I do think, I will go and talk about the roadmap, but I think just on that point about, you know, buying into teams is very important. And I think we're very, you know, upfront and transparent to say that, look, this is our first NFT project that we're doing. We don't have a background in doing this. We are working with experts, for example, when it comes to the mint, who know what they're doing with that, because we do not. But what we do know about, and what we have fairly significant professional experience with, is you know, narrative building, is branding, is delivering in a sort of, you know, delivering good products, right? I've been doing that for a while, and I think that is what I hope people can, you know, would see from this is, we're doing what we're saying we're going to do for the first part, Now, would we like to be able to say we're going to do a metaverse? Yeah, but at the same time, we don't have a team of 20 to 30 engineers who that is kind of required to do that. Now, it kind of links into the point about the roadmap, because we do want to be ambitious, but at the same time, I do think, yeah, it needs to be, especially when you're kind of coming to it new, right? And there isn't anything out there which is kind of proof of what we've done before in this space. I think you do need to be realistic about it, but we feel very confident that we can deliver what we've set out to deliver. I think also, as we come on maybe to talk about the holder benefits program, we were very keen that we show how that will work and show the things that people will receive from that, kind of before the mint, so people are kind of well aware of what they're buying into. And then maybe just one final point before I go on to talk about the roadmap is that there's a narrative, there's utility, there's story, etc. There's brand behind this. However, I still believe one of the most central important things of all CNFT projects, or most CNFT projects, or at least the ones that are outwardly art-based, is you got to want this as your profile picture, right? And I want this gold alien, as I have this gold alien as my profile picture. After the mint, let's see, probably not. But I think it does still come down to that initial just, that looks cool, I want one of those. And we can talk a lot about utility. We can talk a lot about, okay, what's the long-term vision and narrative? But at the end of the day, I think at this stage, it still does need to be something which is just visually appealing. And profile pictures are two things, right? It's you want to be, you want it because it looks cool, but also you think that image is a good representation of who you are and where you're at as well, and that it's a positive community. You want it says something about you. It says something about you, right? So that's incredibly, we can talk about all these other things, but I think centrally it does need to come down to the art and the value of these assets as PFPs. I think, for us anyway, not for all projects, but I think for us.
And I 100% agree with you. Like, when I'm looking at these different, there are a lot of cool NFTs out there, but they might not always translate to a cool PFP pick. And that's something that a lot of people care about. Like, when I'm on Twitter and looking at a bunch of people that follow the CNFT space, or just these different NFT spaces, that is a very big part of, hey, this is what I represent. Hey, I have all these different NFTs, but for whatever reason, I chose this one. And if you can have cool enough art, or a cool enough story, or a strong enough community, you can convince more and more people to have that as their PFP. And I think you're exactly right. Like, this would be something dope to have as a PFP. Like, this is something that I'd be like, whoa, because in my opinion, they look really, really cool, and they look really unique, and they look like they have a lot of personality. So it's like, the more people that want that as the PFP, because without getting too deep in here, like, oh man, I don't know how deep I want to get, but like, society in a sense is like, they want to show off and they want to flex something. And if you can make something that people feel proud to show off, and almost this, wow, I really want that, then that is ultimately just going to bring a ton of value. And I do think that you guys are capturing that, as far as like, I could see this in a PFP. Long-winded short.
No, but I'm totally with you. Humans, ever since humans have been, trading pretty rocks for other things, it comes back to that. And I think that's, for me personally, it's one of the reasons I so got NFTs immediately, and was just like, yeah, this is gonna be huge, because it is all about expression. It's about expression. But it's why the community part is so important as well, because it has to be something that you like. I could just go and get a cool looking picture of something, and be like, okay, it's a nice picture. But it's more about expresses who you are, and that's why brand is important. That's why brand is so important. If you look at, okay, why do I wear Nike trainers? Why do I want to pay more for Nike trainers than I do for just a shoe with just a white shoe? That's essentially what it is. It's because I look at, I don't know, the Air Jordan and Michael Jordan, it's because of the adverts with Cristiano Ronaldo and Wayne Rooney back in the day. Sorry if that's too UK centric for you, but
no.
But it's because of the fact that I want a little slice of that. I want a little slice of what that is about. And all NFT projects and CNFTs are brands in a way. It's just, I think we probably, I guess what I would say is, I think a point of difference for us, although it's not unique by any sense, is the brand part is absolutely paramount. But yeah, anyway, sorry, I've already talked too
No, and because that is a very good point that you're making, because there's a couple of different things with NFTs. You know, you have the PFP, you have the artwork. People, I made a poll that was like, hey, do you care more about art or utility? You also have utility NFTs. You have all these different types of NFTs, right? And I think what you just made, like, expression is the key word that's just jumping in my head right now. Like, NFTs are the future of expression. And right now it's just as a Twitter pic. But in the future, if metaverses blow up like I think they will, that level of expression is going to go to the next level. And when we look at projects that have exploded on Ethereum, such as Bored Ape Yacht Club, like, what made Bored Ape Yacht Club so successful? And it was that story, that narrative, that expression. And then all of a sudden you had all of these famous people, like even Eminem and all these people, start having it and putting it as their profile pic as well. So, like, I think one of the keys that you're trying to do, and that you realize that, you know, even I'm realizing some of this stuff, is just how important that expression and narrative and branding is to a project. It's almost the most important thing. And I've always been like a utility focused guy, but I think that you nailed it on the head there.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you dove a little bit deeper into this before we jumped into the next thing.
But utility can be a brand as well. Like, a project I really love is Rats DAO. And I think that, like, and I hope that the, you know, the project creators would not, you know, dislike me saying that. I don't think it's the greatest art of all time in terms it's different, right? It's different. But I love them. And I had them as my profile picture for a while because I wanted to express that I thought the utility of that project and what they were doing, and the sense of the community there was something that I wanted to express being a part of. So I think that expression of being part of something doesn't necessarily always have to be, it can be utility based as a brand.
Wow.
I suppose. But, yeah.
Dude, you got my, I wasn't expecting to have like a deep philosophical talk on this, but this is crazy because you're exactly right. You're exactly right though. Like, you can even express a concept, an idea. Like, expression can be anything. It can be more than art. It can be the idea of something.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's cool about crypto and NFTs. Like, in a sense, that is an expression of an idea, like of Bitcoin being the first currency, and how we're starting to go more peer-to-peer and having this decentralized process with our monetary policy for the first time in history, pretty much. And it's like the expression of the idea. Dude, I'm gonna have some thinking to do later, but
we're just getting started.
We're just getting started, man. So yes, go over the utility portion of this expression, man. What are you guys expressing with the utility? What are your thoughts and ideas? What are you guys trying to achieve here? So
this is going to be easy. Phase 1 alpha already done, right? We've done it. We wrote the concept, the community. We put the socials and Discord, etc. Like, done. Okay. Phase 2 is Zaguro, which is the mint, April 14th. We have our season 1 mint. There's 3,500 of the Zaguris. They are 90 ADA each, and we hope that's successful. We don't know. It's it'll be interesting to see how that goes. I mean, we feel relatively confident. We think the feedback from the community has been good so far, but you never know. So that is the focus, really, is kind of getting everything ready for then, making sure that the mint is seamless. We're working with an organization called Retro NFTs who have a minting system, so it's not going to be an address drop. It's not going to be on our website even. It's on Retro's website. They have a queuing system. when we were looking at this, actually worked with, well, Ugly Surge kind of pointed us in their direction, and I think it's a really important thing to get right. And like with everything else in this, if we're not the experts in it, we'll bring other people in who are. So that's the season 1 mint. That's about all to say about that. 20th of May is when we will launch our white paper, and that is also something I've been working on since the very start, really since the very start. And it's funny, actually, I'm talking a lot about the art, I'm talking about the brand. Now that's not really the thing I do. I'm not artistically gifted whatsoever in branding. I don't really know what I'm doing either, as in the visuals of branding, let's say. That's a co-founder and 3D artist. So the bit that I've kind of been doing most of all, I suppose, is the white paper. And the white paper will set out our future direction of the Invaders brand and what else comes next. So more about that in a minute. I do want to briefly touch on the holder benefits program, which will be part of the season 1 mint. So we have a royalty token of 7.5% on each NFT, relatively high, but it's going back to the community. So let me explain how. So basically, the royalties from the secondary sales will go into 2 different pots. One of those pots is project development and, well, I guess, project development. And that can be used for a range of things. It can be used to bring on, and invest in kind of new team members, new kit, new, I guess, kind of things we need to deliver the other parts of the project. Perhaps also things like advertising and stuff like that, ramping up the project. But the other half of that is split into 2 different categories. So the holder benefits program, the first of which is Ada airdrops. So that is itself is split into 2 categories. So as a holder, I'm verified in the Discord after mint, every month, every epoch will take a snapshot and then run a kind of lottery bot to give away these prizes. So the first prize is an equally split amount of Ada to 100 winners, right? So that depends on the volume of sales, but that could be, I think in the example I used in the Discord, it was, okay, if we get 1 million Ada volume in the month after launch, then I think that equates to like 200 Ada each to those accounts. If you hold multiple NFTs, you have multiple chances to win. So that's that part. The other part is we split then the other segment of Ada into a single airdrop, which I think is kind of cool. That's called the secret agent airdrop. So that is a very large amount of Ada that goes to one wallet. So you only have a 1 in 3,500 chance to win that, but it's potentially quite a significant amount of Ada. Again, I think if it's 1 million Ada sales volume in the month after launch, that equates, I think, to around 10,000 Ada to one wallet. So it's a lesser degree of success. But if you get it, you'd know about it and you'd be like, wow, okay, I got that. That's pretty cool. And so I think that's it, that the whole Ada airdrop thing, as I think just, it's in our head, it's like an incentive to hold. And it's something that might be, it's obviously not guaranteed because it's kind of a lottery, but it might be something you go, well, I'll keep that in my wallet because you never know, I might get the big secret agent reward this month, kind of thing. The other portion of the airdrops is that we will use those royalties to fund a series of physical prizes. And I want to say with the physical prizes, everybody will have a chance to take the Ada equivalent of those prizes if they don't want them, right? But these will be very, very, very limited edition things because they will only be available initially to Invaders holders. So there are 3 parts of that. The first is the models, which I can show you. So the model is there's the camera. So this is our prototype. This is a 3D model of the kind of OG Invader, and this would come in kind of like really, branding's important, right? So really nice box. You'd get a certificate of authenticity and like a little stand, and it would be there would be very few of them, right? So the idea is that you can win one of these. Also, merchandise, so hats and hoodies, and you've got we haven't entirely got the prototype for this right yet, but what we're thinking is we've got they're kind of limited edition in that each one is entirely unique. So this, I don't know if I can turn my head the right way, this has got a 001 on it, so it's like each cap is unique. It's got one number cap. I don't know entirely if that is going to if that is how we do it, but the ambition is that there is a very limited edition aspect to these physical rewards. And then the final one, we're working with a brilliant company called NF Touchable, who are creating like physical artworks, so stuff like this, right? So like canvas prints of your NFT, and you'll get this like, and it would all be free, right? Shipping plus the thing, it would pay for through royalties if you want it, where you can take the ADA, like I said. So you can get your NFT. It can be a canvas print, it can be a phone cover, it can be like a poster with all the attributes on it, because I feel as though physical, not for everybody, but for a lot of people, kind of physical artworks of your NFTs will be a big thing. And I for example, I wanted to get a big canvas done of one of the dead pixels that I had, because I just loved it, and I loved looking in my wallet, and I thought I want to also look at it on my wall. So it's like reverse, so we've gone from physical to then digital, and then it's like those things can go then the other way in themselves. So that is the Holder Benefits program, which will be royalties funded. And then so there's a big part of like the post mint period that will be making sure that works correctly, making sure that is up and running, that we've got all of the stock that we need, that we're getting the prizes out to people, and that works well. So that's that part. I don't know if you have any questions or comments on that, and then
no, I like how you're doing the physical aspect, because even though I think a lot more things are starting to go digital, there's always that physical aspect. So if you can transcend something from a just digital, like, okay, this is my NFT, if you can transcend that into, very limited, cool merch you won from these different giveaways, these different airdrops, that is super, super cool. And I personally like the idea of projects having higher royalties and using that as a way to not only help fund the project, but give back to the community. So I really like those ideas and concepts there. And I think one of the things that is cool about NFTs is that people get their NFT and they want it to feel unique to them. And I think that's why these computer generated, NFTs are cool, because you have all these different layers and they feel special to you. So if you can also kind of make it special as far as the physical aspect, like, oh, you got this specific canvas poster that's like a 1-for-1, or hey, our hats aren't just generic hats that we made 500 of from a manufacturer, right? Hey, maybe these hats have really cool specialties, and maybe there's like some generic stuff that you sell more in bulk to just like fans that maybe want your hat or want the hoodie, but having those really cool like limited edition stuff, I think is a really cool concept. Because you also brought up like Hate Prime, and you brought up like different fashion stuff. And a lot of the reason people will buy those things is the exclusivity of it. If you look at like Supreme, or if you look at Yeezy, if you look at, these different limited Jordan models, it's that limited factor that really can draw a lot of people. Yeah. And I think what's cool is like when this project gets bigger, and I say when because I do believe in you guys and the team, there is really going to be that exclusivity factor with just owning one of these Ada Invadaz. And I think that if you can paint that narrative like you're doing, then you could have like a similar effect to like Bored Ape in a sense, where it's like, holy crap, like not get to maybe 500,000. Maybe you guys do, I have no idea. But get to that sort of, people are wearing this proudly in the streets. People are taking pictures of it on different hiking trips, on private jets, stuff like that. Like if you can create this brand and image in an amazing way, which it sounds like you guys are trying to tackle.
Yeah, we have big ambitions, and I think it's everything you just spoke about there is why the brand aspect is so important. And I think that that's where and look, I probably shouldn't be saying this because we don't have a successful minted project under our belt, but I guess from my observations or our observations as we've been going through this, I think that when you do have projects that are a series of profile pictures that are developed in a certain way, and then there's not a huge amount next, I think it can be tough, really tough for the teams and for the communities, because it's like there's not a huge amount to kind of sustain and drive it forward. And that's what the brand is, right? And it doesn't always have to be new stuff. It doesn't have to be new seasons. It doesn't have to be, some of the cool stuff that's happening now in terms of like mutations and customization and stuff like that. It doesn't have to be that. You can just have your core product, but the strength of brand is quite a difficult thing to pinpoint, but if it's there. So I want to talk a little bit about the future plans here now. So we would like to do a season 2, and we have ideas in the bank already in terms of, okay, what happens with the law, what happens with what kind of planet, what kind of new profile picture collection could be there. But at the same time, that's not going to be that's going to be kind of slightly later on. We're really not going to kind of rush into doing that. In between that, what we want to do is what I have termed here as benefits card and DAO, but it's not, that's very much scratching the surface of what it is. And I'm really glad to have the opportunity to explain this a little bit, because it's the first time. So bear with me. But I am very, very, very interested in the concepts of DAOs and human and community governance in general. What we will be creating is not a true DAO in the first place. It will not technically, it will not be a decentralized DAO, but that is what we will aspire to get to. So the background to this and why I'm absolutely fascinated and think that DAOs are a very interesting thing is that, so I'm, my background is, I'm a kind of student of history and philosophy. My kind of my kind of educational background is in history, and very interested in kind of the path of how humans like organize themselves. And you go through different phases of the kind of hunter-gatherer society, the feudalism, tyrants and kings, communism, etc., through to our sort of corporate state that we have at the moment. And I'm a big believer that technology, and in particular the blockchain, will in future enable humans to have better ways of organizing themselves that are data driven. And there's a guy who wrote a book called Homo Deus, which is all kind of the future of humans, augmented reality, kind of very futuristic stuff. He talks about dataism being the future kind of guiding, without us really knowing it, that it's the politics of the future, it's the religion of the future, it's how to improve how data moves from point to point. And so I think that the arrival of the concept of DAOs is certainly something to take an interest in and take part in that. And things don't always go to plan when you're building new things and new ways and structures of community governance. But I think it's something that we certainly want to have as part of our program. And so how this is going to look is that in after our mint and a decent time after our mint, we are going to develop I guess what you would call a kind of benefits card type offering, right? And this will be an NFT. It will be tied very much to the Invaders brand and story. It will give all of, I suppose, the normal benefits you'd expect of stuff like this, including, future whitelist for all projects, royalties off merchandise, other things that are, just in terms of benefits for being involved in the project and buying into it. The funds from that sale, and it will be a very small drop, and it will probably be slightly higher priced. The majority of the funds from that drop will go towards developing a community treasury. So like the stuff that is from the season 1, the royalties funded stuff, that's for holders, that's for project development in terms of the artwork. This second part is to do with funding an initial community treasury. That's where the vast majority of that funds go. What we will then look to do is to have some kind of, I called it kind of like an Invaders Congress or like a Galactic Senate type thing, which will be a series of events, probably on Discord, where we will have kind of time limited and themed discussions on the types of things that a brand looking to grow in this space could do. And what we are hoping to do is to basically through working with the community in terms of the let's say the shareholders, the people who have brought into that card and have funded the community wallet, to use that as an opportunity to come up with a series of work streams for future direction of the project. And that could include lots of different things. That could include, let's say ramping up the brand and the merchandising side. It could include things like potentially, play to earn and metaverse type integration, provided we can find the right partners and have the funds that are needed to do something like that. It could include advertising. It could include using some of that money to pay a celebrity to wear an Invaders hat at some sort of event. It really will depend on the discussion and the willingness of what the community wants to do, and we will be part of those discussions, but we will have a kind of a say in that and a voting power, but it will be community led. The reason I say it's not a proper DAO initially is because it won't be governed by kind of like the smart contracts kind of multi-sig stuff, but one of the things would be the creation of something like that, if that's the way the community wants to go, with the kind of fractionalized ownership. People are doing interesting stuff around kind of using NFTs as kind of loans and collateral and things like that. It could go lots of different ways, and people can obviously buy and sell the benefits card as they want, and the royalties from that go back into the community fund. So essentially it's almost like it's a capital raising exercise. We've launched the brand, and we are inviting the members of that brand and that organization. And that's why I think that community governance on things like this is so interesting, is because you're not on the outside looking in, you can be on the inside making the decisions and stuff. So that really is, I think, where, following this season 1 MIMP, where, and this will be set out in more detail in our white paper, where we want to go with it. And maybe just one final point on it. I really believe in experts, and I really believe in people with experience leading stuff. And so what we would also use that treasury for is, let's say there is a work stream to establish a fully fledged functioning DAO that is a proper DAO, and that the community said we want to do X with it. Well, a good portion of that would be used to appoint a Sherpa or a leader of that work stream, and to decide how much of the DAO, how much of the community treasury is used to fund that person's objectives and work. So I see it as, we're almost, the first part of it is we look at the profile picture collection, absolutely critical. They have to look good. And then where we go from there is to have this kind of community-led brand thing. We're almost kind of launching a corporation which is governed by a community of shareholders, I suppose, in terms of where we want to go. But we've laid the foundation by launching the brand. So I know that was a lot. I'm sorry, I talked for quite a while.
No, I think you did an incredible job at explaining. You were answering a lot of the questions that I was having as you were going. I really love that idea. I think the cool thing, I'm a big fan of DAOs as well. I think there's some logistical things that need to be figured out. But the concept of DAOs are absolutely insane. not just on a community basis level, but on the level of really having a group's opinion on something and really being able to achieve these bigger goals. Yeah. And I like how you're not scared of delegation, because I think a lot of times, if you start a project, you're the founder, it's your baby. Sometimes it's hard to delegate some of these roles to other people. So for you to be comfortable with that is absolutely awesome, because I think that's going to be a huge net benefit, because you and the other two members on your team right now can't necessarily tackle everything to the highest level. But if you can put the right people in the right places, hey, okay, this guy's in charge of this portion of this DAO, or okay, these people in the community are going to be discussing the pros and cons of the different options we have on this release and the funds in this, and we can talk about the different ways that we want to spend the royalties. Like, I think that I just think that it's really awesome. And I love how you explained everything there. I think those cards are those cards most likely going to be whitelisted to the people that already own the aliens? Like, do you have that thought process figured out yet with that?
Yeah, I mean, no, well, I say, yeah, no, not entirely. No, I think that let's just say that the people who mint with us on April 14th and the people that are, holders of the season 1 NFTs, call them Genesis, call them whatever you want, they are always going to be forefront of the plans in terms of how to reward and give benefits to people. I think that there needs to be adequate reward for the card itself as well. But yeah, I think in general there would certainly be some sort of thinking towards ensuring that anybody who's a season 1 holder can access that card. Numbers, in terms of numbers of that, in terms of mint price, not entirely sure yet. I think a lot of it depends on how well the first part,
the success and growth of the first part.
And that really is the focus. But then that's why the white paper is due to come out on 20th of May. I'm happy that we put a date behind that, because I think, I hope it shows to people in the space that we're thinking already about, not just like, yay, we sold out, okay, now what? Yeah. We're already thinking about that. I spend a lot of time thinking about how, what's in that white paper. Is it deliverable? Is it because I see it as a almost as a it's a pitch, it's a report, it's a pitch to investors. The white paper is a pitch to investors, and I want to make sure we do a good and compelling job. And maybe just briefly on DAOs. I mean, I think that from what I've seen so far, I think there's a lot of interesting ideas, there's a lot of jeopardy, and there's a lot of challenges with actually how they're run, and even the decisions that are made. Sometimes they're not good decisions. I just explain to you about my sort of background and history. I want to give you an equivalent you may already be aware of, but the birth of democracy in 5th century Athens BC was an absolute disaster, because at one citizen, who was unfortunately only a man who wasn't a slave, got one vote, similar to a DAO, right? Although you couldn't have multiple, I suppose. And they used to go up on the Acropolis, and they would vote by putting their hand up for things. And that was a complete failure, because they essentially voted for war something like 20 times, 20 years in a row. And then the head of the army comes out and he's like, we don't have an army anymore. Like, we just voted, you voted for war so many times, we now don't have an army. The Spartans are at the gates, we're screwed. And I think it's an interesting, I draw equivalents in a way, because what is happening at the moment, even with the whole crypto space, with the whole NFT space, it's just an experiment, right? It's just an experiment. And what comes out of it may be something incredibly game-changing for humanity. And that's why I was very keen that any project we did had some element of being part of that experiment of community governance and putting the decision-making power into the hands of people. And I know it's only people who are shareholders of that particular project, but I just think it's really cool and interesting. And the reason for giving that anecdote is just to say that things like this don't always work 100% well right at the start, but incrementally you learn from the mistakes that other projects, other things have had, or other challenges projects have had, and you get better as a result. I know that a lot of people look at it and think, DAO is almost a turn off, they think, or there's a sense that kind of like you just put DAO in a roadmap or something. So it's like, we'll do it. Okay, we'll do a DAO. I guess you could say the same like metaverse or play to earn. They become kind of buzzwords. But I guess the thing I want to communicate is it's really not a buzzword for me. And I think even if it's been done or is being done a lot, I still think there's huge merit in the concept. And yeah, certainly something we want to try and do in with our own spin. I think this idea of doing the kind of like galactic senate type thing where we have some events, we have some speakers, we have some we have some discussions about what can be done. I don't know exactly how that's going to work yet, but we'll set it out in the white paper.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, I mean, DAOs are really cool, like I said, and I think you made a good point there. Like the first births of democracy, in a sense, like a new concept. Whenever new concepts come around, there's always going to be things to figure out. And crypto and NFTs and DAOs and metaverse and all this stuff is in the very, very early stages. And there's a lot of things that we have to figure out. And what's cool is that you can see what a lot of these other projects are doing, what works, what doesn't work, how are different members of the DAO reacting. I think the big thing that needs to be achieved is, I think, as far as DAOs go, you really want to have people in the DAO that are thinking bigger picture and what's best for the majority and not necessarily what's best for themselves. And I think that's something interesting that is going to be tackled here, because there might be some votes like I've seen on Rat's DAO or these different DAOs that might benefit the individual, and that's why they're voting a certain way. And we see that,
I'll be honest with you, I've been guilty of that.
I'm
big, like I said, big on Rat's DAO, and I think you go into the votes and you're like, do I have one of them? Okay, yeah, well,
and it's hard, bro.
Yeah.
But we do that even as in our governments too. Like in the US, it's very two-party, it's very divided, unfortunately. And it's like a lot of times, people vote on their own self-interest. Okay, who do I want to vote for that is going to benefit me the most sometimes? And one of the things that I really like about Japan, not to get too off topic here, but Japan is really a society where they all care about the community and what's best for the group. And it's very interesting. I almost think if we could have the Japan society and culture into a DAO, that would just be absolutely beautiful. But that's part of, on your end, is just if you can create an amazing community of people that really are thinking big picture, like you can create just this immensely beautiful organization.
I hope so. And I think the thing that I explained is not a true DAO at the start, but we hope to create that in terms of and what I mean by that is that you think you were just describing there some of the shortcomings, let's say, of the governance of societies. Historically, tyrants and dictatorships have been a huge cause. Autocracies, decision by one, kings and queens. Obviously we still have one of those, but the DAO. Technology doesn't have the flaws that humanity does, right? It has its other flaws, maybe it's less empathetic, but it doesn't have the flaws in terms of creating systems. And so if you have a true DAO, then there is no potential for a tyrant. There's no potential for a tyrant, because you have to have debate and discussion and majority rules. Not to say the majority is always going to be right, but that's what I like about it, is the idea that in future, if we're able to pull this off, we will be totally locked out, like through the technology, locked out from making any centralized decisions, let's say. And that is I'm not a technical guy, like I'm not a computer programmer. I don't know how that works, but I understand the principles that sit behind it. And so that's where I want to get to really with this, is to have a board, let's say a kind of a board or a group of shareholders deciding on something, but that where there is no potential for corruption. I think that's it.
Dude, I'm with you there, man. I even made a video recently talking about some predictions I had in the future. And I think a lot more companies are even going to start having, DAOs in their own companies. And it's a very interesting thing. And I really like where it's going. And we might not have a perfect system ever, but I think DAOs could definitely be a great step in the right direction. And to be a part of your own unique DAO and test the waters of this new space is something cool. And I can tell you are thinking about it on a deeper level and not just, hey, here's some keywords to put on our website to sell some shit, So that's cool. But so that's phase 3.
That's phase
and then
3.
You have one more phase here, which is the last phase. And I like how you guys are doing phases, by the way. I think phases are a lot better than having specific time frames. Because sometimes things take a little bit longer. So I like how you're doing the phrases here, and then you do have some concrete dates, such as, your white paper.
Yeah. And so, I mean, to be honest, there's probably not a huge amount to say on this last part, because it really depends on what happens in phase 3. The one that I will pick out is kind of idea of roadmap 2.0, because I think that the roadmap doesn't finish, right? The roadmap isn't static. It's not like, okay, we've done 2 seasons, we've launched a benefits card, we have a DAO, job done, right? I think, and especially if it's community governed, the idea is that this is, brands outlive their creators, right? Brands outlive their creators. And so what I would hope is that we can have, later on a new roadmap, which is, okay, like a company publishes an annual report. Here's what we're going to do this year. And it's less like a kind of, here's a roadmap for between X and Y. We're going to do this. And then you kind of scramble towards at the end thinking, okay, Christ, we've got to come up with something else now because we've done those things. So I think having a kind of almost like a living roadmap where, there is potential to evolve as it goes is important for us. So that's the first part. And I guess the most important things really are season 1 min, the white paper launch, and then have it integration of this kind of stuff. And that's it, I guess. I mean, I don't know if you want to if you have any questions, I mean, can take a look through some more of the sneak peeks if you want.
Some of the cool sneak peeks, yeah. And how many layers are there? Because a lot of these look super unique.
So there are 184 attributes. That's
Okay.
And they are these are just some random generations. I mean, we look through all of them. We're very close to completing the metadata. We just have to do, I haven't mentioned this yet, but we have to the final legendaries, and then there is a 1 of 1 emperor, the Zaguri emperor, which is a 1 of 1, which that's
dude.
He's gonna be special.
I've got my wallet address in the description, by the way. I don't know.
Yeah, he may have some perks to him as well, but we'll see. So yeah, I mean, there's 184 attributes. I mean, these are just some generations in terms of how they fit together. Like, we've got this diamond face mask guy. This is like the mystic crown, different guns and stuff. So I mean, the majority of the focus, I guess, is on like the headwear and eyes and stuff, and then there's me and my cap.
Nice.
These guys.
They look so badass, dude. And like, you guys are getting a ton of engagement on each post. Like, holy crap. Like, all of these posts had over 200 likes. Like, that is a lot of engagement.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think, and we're really happy about that. Like, that's all I can say about that, really. We love the fact that people seem to like it. And I want to save one of these down so I can zoom in, maybe not, because I think we're really proud of the level of detail, because I think that when you zoom in on the sneak peeks, maybe I can do it in the Discord if you can still see my screen there. There you go.
There we go. Sweet.
So, you know, like even just stuff like the, you know, the light and the textures, like you can see the textures that come off the different reflections and stuff. Like a lot of work's gone into these. I'm allowed to say that because it's not by me, by the artist, you know, and the fact what I, you know, would love to show at some stage as well is that it's not off a model. Like it's not off a, it's, I mean, look, it's not hugely different than other kind of outer space creatures you may see, aliens and stuff, but it's the face, the outline of the face is a sketch from my co-founder. We've got like the original sketches I would love to show one day, see how they kind of come together. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot. I mean, my favorite, I think a lot of people's favorites. I'll just shout out one of our mods.
Oh, dude, that one.
So there's a guy, Reaper of Justice, who's one of our mods, who's got his name on this one. So no one is allowed to have this one, but you know, we'll see. So this is so okay. Let me talk a little bit about the other legendaries, right? So 3 types of legendaries. There's the light red blue light split one. There's the all gold. So there'll be an all gold one of this. There'll be an all gold one of each of the classes, and there will be an all gold naked alien as well, which I think that's going to be my favorite. But
are there any bald aliens? Are there?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, with the brain.
With the brain, okay.
Yeah,
I don't have one of those, so unfortunately, I can't relate to the project. But
they're bald at heart. So these ones are what we call the blackout ones. So I think this is kind of slightly different in terms of I don't know if I've seen this done so much in that they're very dark, and actually the important thing here is the kind of shadows. So yeah, this is the blackout kind of mecha legendary, and actually it will have the special A logo on it with the names of the Ada creators. This is just to kind of just for the preview, and yeah, really I think the blackout ones I hope are going to be quite popular. They look really cool as a profile picture, because they're blackouts, I guess, and they
it stands out. That's going to be a flex. That is definitely really cool.
Yeah, you can see like with this one, for example, the detail on the insignia. So this is like the diamond encrusted insignia for their planet's logo.
You said there's 20 of these legendaries, right?
No, so this isn't a legend.
That is just a more rare layer potentially, but as far as like the legendaries go, the 1-for-1 type deals, you were saying there's 20 of them?
So there's 34 of those.
Oh, 34.
Yeah, and so they are, so basically there's a few of each in terms of the red blue light switch. So there'll be like a red blue light split mecha, for example, as well. This guy is like what we call like an assassin. So there'll be like a gold assassin, a blackout assassin. So there's basically, my math isn't very good, but like 9 classes, and then each one of them has like 1 of 3 legendaries, and then you have the 1 of 1 emperor as well.
Wow. Well, I like to ask this question at the end of every interview. There's so many projects, right? So many projects are constantly coming out. So many ways for our money to go in different places, especially with the way the crypto market's going crazy right now. Why should the people watching this invest in Ada Invadaz on the 14th of April? Like, why should I buy this? Because you've sold me throughout this, but what is the main selling point? What do you want to tell the audience about this?
So I think, honestly, and I hope it doesn't sound like a cop-out, but I think it will be different for different people. And I think some people, I hope, buy it, read the story and the narrative and go, I want to be part of the, Cardano invasion force. Some people may think, okay, the vision and the philosophy behind the vision is quite interesting. But I think for most people, and my pitch would be, when you get one, and I've seen it because we've seen all the generations. When you get one of these in your wallet, you will not be disappointed. That would be my pitch, because we started talking about brand. We started talking about the importance of the profile picture as a representation of that. I think, again, having seen them all now and gone through them, I don't think there's a single one that you would get and you would not be like, cool. That's and there you go. So simple. That is what I would say.
Dude, I've loved this interview. And just for everyone watching that is interested, they are minting on April 14th. They're going to be 90 ADA each, correct? And there's going to be 3,500 in total.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. And as you guys know, I don't do paid promos on this channel. I really only do interviews with people that I think are cool or have cool projects. But I believe that we are getting some whitelisting spots, and yes, we're going to run some sort of giveaway on Twitter. And the rules are, and I'm going to make a post for it, but the rules are is that you got to be following Ada Invadaz. You got to be following me. You got to like, retweet. It's all going to be out there, but we're going to be giving away some of those spots so that you can get into this project. And I think those whitelist spots are going to be really important, guys, because I personally love this project. And I think they are going to have a pretty quick sellout, even with, you know, everything that's been going on in the whole entire market. So definitely look at the description. I'm going to be posting that. But did you want to close off and say anything? I mean, this has just been a great time, and definitely one of the deeper conversations I've had on here. So that was cool too.
Good. We like to have that. So I want to close off by just saying a huge thank you to everybody, including yourself, who has taken an interest in the project, who has, you know, been involved with our Discord. That part of it has been incredibly fun. And it's a huge, it's a huge part of the experience. This is the most fun that we've ever had doing anything. The majority of the stuff we do professionally is mind-numbingly boring compared to the amazing fun we're having building a kind of sci-fi brand with this community. So I just want to give a very heartfelt thank you to everybody who's followed us, everybody who's, you know, dropped into our DM saying that they like the project, everyone who has, you know, joined the Discord and chucked one of these sneak peeks on as their profile picture. We really appreciate it, and we hope that come 14th of April, if you do choose to mint, then you will not be disappointed. That is our focus. So thank you very much, and appreciate coming on the channel.
Hell yeah, man. Well, guys, that was Invaded Jim here, and yeah, I hope everyone here has an awesome day.